Hey everybody, welcome back to the Consumer Warrior Project. On today's video, I'm going to talk about something that is fundamental to having a sound financial plan and getting yourself out of debt, and that is having a zero-based budget. We're going to talk about what a zero-based budget is and how it is that it's going to make it so you're going to have all kinds of extra cash to get yourself out of debt. For those of you who are new to my channel here, my name is John Skiba, and I'm a consumer protection attorney in the state of Arizona, and I'm also a bankruptcy attorney and a Ramsey Solutions master financial coach. So I kind of have this schizophrenic job where I help people file for bankruptcy, but I also help people in coaching to avoid bankruptcy through using the Dave Ramsey approach to getting out of debt. And one of the things that Dave Ramsey talks about that I am a big believer in is a written monthly budget. You know, recently at debt.com, they released a study that showed that 30% of Americans kept a monthly written budget. And frankly, I was surprised that the number was that high. My view of these things is skewed because I work with people all day long who are going through financial crisis. And usually, in almost 99% of those cases, one of the reasons why there is such a financial crisis is because of the lack of a budget, essentially a lack of knowing where your money is going each month. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, is tell you what the zero-based budget is and how it is that it can help you if you're trying to get out of debt, particularly if you're trying to use the snowball method that we teach in my coaching sessions as far as being able to get out of debt by paying your debt off through that method. So, one of the number one complaints that I get when I meet with people in a coaching session or looking to file for bankruptcy is they say, I live paycheck to paycheck. The budget's too tight. There's no money if I want to try to get out of debt by paying it off. And that's common because in the U.S. right now, 76% of people live paycheck to paycheck. So if there's any little crisis or big crisis, whatever it is, any kind of bump in the road, it makes it very, very difficult to be able to keep things on track. And it doesn't seem like there's any room in the budget to get things paid off. Well, that's where the written budget can come into play. Now, the first thing, let's talk about what a zero-based budget is. All this means is that at the beginning of the month, you're going to have a written budget assigning where every single dollar that you have as far as income has for that particular month. So if you make $4,000 per month, you're going to have a budget that allocates where every single one of those $4,000 is going to go before the month even starts. Now, the first thing that I recommend if you're new to budgeting is you need to figure out exactly what historically you've been spending on things. And the easiest way to do this is to get a copy of your bank statements, go back a few months, go back 6 months, and really see what it is you're spending on things like groceries. What are you spending on gas for the car, on car repairs, on clothing? And I think as you do this, you're going to be a little bit surprised as to where your money's been going and really the amounts that you're spending in certain categories, particularly on things like eating out. That seems to be a big one with most people's budgets. Someplace that I personally experienced where I found a lot of waste in my budget was online subscriptions, particularly things like iTunes. The money was just flowing to iTunes, where we had to put a stop on it, stop some of these subscriptions. I've had clients in my coaching practice where I had one recently who, for his business, he had online subscription to QuickBooks. Well, the business closed down and he got a different job, but he never stopped the QuickBooks. So he wasn't using it, but he was still paying $49 a month or whatever it was. It was just being auto-debited every single month. And it was that way for years. And so, those types of things can really start to add up if you go through and look at what your online subscriptions are. So go back, look historically what you generally spend on your different categories. And then we want to sit down and put together a written budget. Now, there are a lot of forms and templates out there that you can use. This can be something as simple as just a yellow pad. Get out and write down the different categories that you want to break your budget down into. Look at what you've spent historically. Look at the areas where you think you should cut it back somewhat. For instances on some, as far as percentages, we generally recommend you don't spend more than 25% on a mortgage or rental payment. Grocery should be 10 to 15% of your overall budget. So go through those things and look at maybe areas where you can cut things back a little bit to give yourself a little wiggle room, particularly if you're trying to get out of debt. Now, the key to the zero-based budget like I said earlier, you have to make sure that every single dollar has an assigned category. The whole goal of this is once you add up all the different categories where you've assigned money to, the number should be zero. There's no wiggle room. And that means that you're going to have categories for like entertainment or for eating out. You're going to have for going to the movies, those types of things. And maybe even a budget for like a miscellaneous for when you need to just pull $20 out of the ATM. Make sure that every single dollar has a place and an assignment before you even start the month. So for instance, I am doing this video here at the end of March. It's about time for me and my wife to sit down for the April coming up, sit down and see specifically where the money needs to go. And each month might be a little bit different. It's starting to get springtime here in Arizona, which means that the miserable summer is almost upon us. So I know I need to take my cars into the mechanic and make sure that the AC is working correct. So maybe I'm going to allot some extra money in the budget for that. Or I know that on my wife's car, we need tires. So each month may be a little bit different, and you need to make sure you do this each and every month. It's not something where you do it once and then you don't come back to it. There's a new written budget every single month. So once you set your amounts that you're going to shoot for that month and that you're going to stick to, then it's a matter of making sure that you review it often. Too many people write down the budget, they've got everything that looks great, and then through 30 days later, they come and try to revisit it at that point. You don't want to do that, particularly early on. You want to spend a lot of time with that budget and making sure that you're sticking to it. We use an online app called Every Dollar. This is one that the Ramsey Solutions, Dave Ramsey people have put together. It's completely free to use. You can go over to everydollar.com, download that app on your phone. There's a premium version of it as well, where it has a little bit of a charge where you can download all the information from your bank accounts. But it's a great tool for, particularly if you have irregular income, where you're getting bonuses or commissions, something like that, where you can actually go go every single day and allocate where those are going. I can tell you as you do that, and this isn't something where, forever, as far as every single day you need to be checking this, but I think early on particularly, you need to make sure that you're very intentional as far as where your money's going. Because what happens is, and for too many people, is they're spending, not completely aware of where the money is going, and then they supplement with credit cards down the road. So that's where you start to run into problems, and then those things start to snowball in the opposite way that we want them to over time, and then people come to me and want to file for bankruptcy because the credit card debt is out of control. That's why you need to be intentional. That's why you need to focus on every single day, early on especially, where your money's going, and make sure that you're keeping track of that and you're sticking to that budget. The budget's two parts. You make the budget, but then you got to stick to the budget. And it will take, in the very beginning, it's going to take probably a few months for you to be able to really get a grasp on creating the budget and then being able to stick to it and know really where your wiggle room is on this. But this is the answer to the question as far as how you're going to get money to get out of debt when you feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck. Because I promise you, if you go through the budget and you're very intentional and very detail oriented on that, it's going to be painful for a lot of people in the beginning. But if you do that, you're going to find more money than you think you will. You're going to find an extra $50 here, maybe an extra couple $100 here and there that you can start to dedicate towards debt payments and get those things paid off in full. So that's the zero-based budget. It's fairly simple. It takes a little bit of practice, but once you do it, and if you stick to it, it's life-changing as far as what it can do for you and your finances and helping you to get on that path to getting out of debt, building wealth, and as Dave says, give like no one else. So that's going to do it for this episode. I appreciate you checking in today. Leave us some comments down in there. Let me hear what your tips are as far as budgeting, or maybe what some of the areas where you were surprised where you were spending the most money. That's the one thing. If you haven't done a budget before, a lot of people are shocked as they get back into those bank statements and see how much they're spending on coffee every month or something like that. So that'll do it for this episode. I'll catch you next time.